learners, this is Mr. Rogelio Rivera, and we will explore the amazing world of science in our virtual class.
Biodiversity is a key concept in ecology and has importance on both local and global scales. Biodiversity is the degree of variation of life, or, put it more simply, the number of different individuals and life forms in an area. Scientists usually measure biodiversity on either genetic, species, or ecosystem levels. For example, if you wanted to measure the biodiversity of beetles on a global scale, you would find that there are over 350,000 known species of beetle on the planet. However, if you wanted to measure the biodiversity of beetles locally, you might find only up to 10 or 20 species. The reason for this difference is that biodiversity varies greatly with the location, habitat, and species being surveyed. In general terms, biodiversity tends to be highest at the equator and decreases at higher latitudes, i.e., as you get further away from the equator. Knowing this information, where would you expect to find the habitats with the lowest biodiversity? Pause the video and have a think. Habitats at the equator, such as tropical rainforests, usually have the highest biodiversity. So if you thought habitats at the north or south poles, such as the polar desert, you're correct. It's important to know that biodiversity is not a static measure, but is responsive to numerous factors, including climate change. In fact, global biodiversity is generally thought to be declining right now. Biodiversity has declined in the past, and a total of 5 major extinction events have occurred. Currently, we are in the planet's 6th major extinction event, known as the Holocene extinction. There are many proposed reasons for the current drop in biodiversity. Some of those reasons are anthropogenic, meaning caused by humans. Anthropogenic factors include things like introduced or invasive species, such as the introduction of rabbits to Australia, human-induced hybridization, such as in plants to create optimal species of crop, overharvesting of resources, and global climate change caused by human activities. While humans aren't responsible for all of the current extinction events, there is good evidence to suggest that humans are affecting the world on a global scale and causing the loss of many important species. The loss of biodiversity could have catastrophic effects on our society and even result in the loss of our food crops. For example, bees are in huge decline and they are extremely important in the pollination of many plants, including our crops. There are lots of ways we can reduce biodiversity loss and even increase biodiversity, such as managing our land better, growing more than one crop, and including plants that encourage insect diversity, and also creating cities with space for other species. We shouldn't just focus on the rural areas. Urban places can do their bit. By increasing the local biodiversity, we can help the environment to sustain itself and give it a better chance of withstanding the effect of global climate change. A healthy and diverse ecosystem can withstand and recover from disasters. Biodiversity is an important topic that affects us all. As a global community, we need to take action to protect our biodiversity on both local and global levels. Here are just a few of the free services a healthy, biodiverse ecosystem provides us with.
What is extinction, and how does a species become extinct? To extinguish something means to stop it from existing, like blowing out a candle flame. When a plant or animal species that once lived stops existing entirely, we say that that species has become extinct. Why do certain species of plants and animals sometimes become extinct? According to the theory of evolution, individuals of the same species show a range of variations. Some individuals have characteristics that are better suited to their environment, making them more likely to survive and reproduce, whilst others are less well adapted. These less well adapted individuals may eventually fail to reproduce, and eventually their genes are removed from the population. If an entire species fails to adapt to changes in its environment or compete with other organisms for resources, and its birth rate is lower than its death rate, then it will become extinct. It may surprise you to know that over 99% of all species that have ever lived are now extinct. Typically, most organisms become extinct within 10 million years of their first appearance. Although some species have survived without much change for much longer than this. These long-surviving organisms are sometimes called living fossils. The African aardvark and the Himalayan red panda are two examples of such living fossils, as both have remained genetically unchanged for millions of years. From time to time, an event takes place on Earth which causes a mass extinction. These mass extinctions are identified by a significant and often devastating change in the number and variety of organisms alive at one time. The most famous mass extinction, called the KT extinction event, occurred about 65 million years ago and involved the extinction of the dinosaurs. The most devastating extinction event happened 251 million years ago and completely eradicated 96% of all known species. This was probably due to a comet or asteroid impact. Today, many species are becoming extinct at an alarming rate. This is of great concern to biologists and ecologists. It is currently estimated that 50% of all living species will be extinct by the year 2100. But what can we do to slow down or halt the spiral of extinction? Stopping habitat destruction is a key starting point, as well as becoming greener, lowering our carbon footprint, and using sustainable products. We may be able to affect this, and it's up to all of us to play our part.
Biodiversity is a variety of life, as we saw in this video. There are thought to be 8.7 million species on planet Earth, and as we saw in this video, biodiversity is of utmost importance to humans. The loss of one key species can have a detrimental impact on many levels, from other species of animals to plants to the physical environment, as shown by wolves. Human activities are reducing biodiversity. Our future depends upon maintaining a good level of biodiversity, and so we need to start taking measures to try and stop the reduction. In this video, we're going to look at how humans are negatively impacting biodiversity. Here are some of the main human-induced threats facing biodiversity. as the world population has grown from 1.5 billion in 1900 to nearly 7.5 billion people today. Unsurprisingly, the land use has changed. Habitats have been destroyed in favor of agriculture, forestry, fishing, urbanization, and manufacturing. Unsurprisingly, habitat loss has greatly reduced the species' richness. Habitat fragmentation has also meant that populations have been split into smaller subunits, which then, when faced by challenging circumstances, have not been able to adapt and survive. After habitat loss, overharvesting has had a huge effect on biodiversity. Humans historically exploit plant and animal species for short-term profit. If a resource is profitable, we develop more efficient methods of harvesting it, inevitably depleting the resource, as is currently happening with fishing and logging. The exploited species then needs protection. The difficulty is that the demand then outstrips the supply, and so the resource value rises. This increases the incentive to extract the resource and leads to the final collapse of the population, as happened with whales, elephants, spotted cats, cod, tuna, and many more species. Human activities are polluting the air and water. Toxic discharge into water from industrial processes, unsurprisingly, has a negative effect on local aquatic species by killing, weakening, or affecting their ability to reproduce. Another big water pollution problem is eutrophication, which we'll look at in detail in this video. Phosphorus and nitrogen in fertilizers run off agricultural fields and pass into rivers. These surplus nutrients cause algae to bloom, which then starves other aquatic species of oxygen and light, causing them to die. Acid rain is a consequence of humans polluting the air. This causes lakes and water bodies to become more acidic, killing fish, mollusks, amphibians, and many other species. A huge impact humans have had on planet Earth is the introduction of alien species to habitats. In fact, it is estimated that on any given day there are 3,000 species in transit aboard ocean-going vessels. Alien species can cause problems in a number of ways. Pause the video and have a look. Throughout the Earth's history, there have been periods of rapid climate change that have led to mass extinction events. We are currently in a period of fluctuating climate, but nearly all scientists agree that human activities like burning fossil fuels are speeding up global warming. We don't know how much climate change is going to affect biodiversity in the future, but it is predicted to be huge. Loss of sea ice and ocean acidification are already causing huge reductions in biodiversity. Climate change alters temperature and weather patterns, with changing patterns of rainfall and drought expected to have significant impacts on biodiversity. So there you have a selection of human-related impacts on biodiversity. There are many more, which with a quick search on the internet will bring up. If you want to understand why we should care about maintaining biodiversity, watch this video.
Alright learners, thank you for watching our session today. I hope you learned and enjoyed this session. Again, don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, Survey TV, and click the notification bell for you to be updated of my latest and exciting video lesson about science. So, see ya and take care. God bless everyone.